Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Today is 14th November 2022 and a very happy Children's Day to all of you, to all the UPSC aspirants. So let's see what all important facts we have to study in today's newspaper. So on the first page there is a mention of G20 summit to focus on food energy security. So what you have to do is go to Google, search what all is the present status of food security in India. Okay, so you can go and search the food security status on in India, right? So here you can see what is the malnutrition status, what is child stunting, right? These kind of terms you can easily find in those articles. So quickly go on the Google and search the food security status in India. Similarly, do a search on energy security in India. There you will find that out of the, let's say, the whole energy production, how much is sourced from the conventional sources, how much is sourced from thermal, and how much energy is sourced from the renewable sources. Okay, so this will help you to maintain a data set which can be used in GS paper 2 or let's say GS paper 3. Okay, whenever the question comes on food security or energy security, you can put these data. All right, so gain some extra marks. Clear? So clearly make a complete data set on food security status and energy security status. Also, along with this, if you're noting the data, write some name of the schemes related to food security. Example, Poshan Abhiyan. Related to energy security, you can mention that about COP21 Paris, where we have made a target of 175 gigawatt from renewable sources. Clear? So maintain this thing and it will help you immensely. Moving on. So there was a mention of this project, toilet to tap initiative of the Delhi government. So basically what is in this project is basically to treat the sewage water and convert it into a water capable of drinking, right? So you can code these initiatives if you're writing any answer on, let's say, water recycling and water conservation. You can code these kind of case studies. All right, so whenever the question is being asked either in GS paper 1 or GS paper 3 based on water conservation, you can mention the name of toilet to tap initiative of the Delhi government. Is a good initiative for water conservation and converting the sewage water into, let's say, drinking water. Okay, so these are some good examples which you should definitely use in the answer. Clear? Moving on. Next we have yes, as you already know, it is Children's Day. Okay, so you can read about Jawaharlal Nehru and what was his contribution in the India's freedom struggle. You can note down some ideologies, right? What was the difference in ideology between Jawaharlal Nehru and Mahatma Gandhi? These kind of question usually comes in UPSC. There was a question on between the thought process difference between Mahatma Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose. All right, so you can note down difference between how Nehru worked, what was his ideology, what was his essential publications, कौन सी books उन्होंने release की है. You should also note that down. Clear? Next we have uncertainty over RF to VC ordinance. So here there is a mention of ordinance. So again, current to static linkage. What is ordinance? Okay, what is Article 163? Clear? So you can note it down. You can read about ordinance. When ordinance can be passed, what are the particular situations when an ordinance can be passed? Clear? And who passes an ordinance? So these kind of thing you can read from Lakshmikant. Okay, in the parliament unit there's a separate mention of ordinance and its entire process. Go and read that thing particularly. It will help you to understand whatever is there in ordinance thing. Okay, moving on. So we have to pick these kind of things from the newspaper. What is the most relevant for your exam? We don't have to go and randomly read the articles. It will not help you. It will waste your time if you're going and reading a random article and you're not getting something concrete from that. Then it is a wastage of time. You have to pick only those things which will be either using in mains exam as a part of case study, as a part of example, as a part of data, or a prelims fact which might come in your UPSC prelims exam. Okay. Next, there's a very good initiative where the Punjab government has told that use 20% of paddy straw in brick kilns. So these paddy straw, which are a major source of pollutant for in the Delhi and the northern region during the winter season, which you all know that stubble burning and pollution. So in order to curb that, in order to incentivize the farmers, so that they will not burn their straw, and rather they will collect it and they will give it to the brick kilns, where they will use this 20% in their as a fuel. So there are two things which are being done here. First, this will reduce this stubble burning, and this stubble burning will further reduce the pollution. Secondly, it is increasing farmers' income. They will not burn it, they will collect these waste and they will send it to the brick kilns. Okay. And thirdly, energy efficiency, or let's say saving of resources. So they will use paddy straw in place of, let's say, either coal or whatever source they are using. So it will save their money also. So this is a threefold thing which will help the farmers, the brick person, and the environment in total. Clear? Next we have, yeah. So on the editorial page, you have to read this article, a very good article on climate finance, right? So here it is mentioned what is the present status of climate finance, why climate finance is required in this present scenario. Okay, so you have to read this entire article and make a quick note on this, short note, right? So in this article, it has been mentioned that the developed country has made a target of giving $100 billion by 2020 to the developing countries for achieving their climate goals. But has it been done? So it has not been achieved yet, right? So what are the challenges for low income countries and what are the realities? So read this article, make a note quickly, whatever you think. You can also send it on Telegram, right? We can check whether it is whether are you on the correct line or not. Okay. So read this article, it will be helpful from GS paper 3 point of view, environment. In this, it can ask what is climate finance and what are the present scenario, or let's say the present status of climate finance in controlling the changing environment. These kind of thing can be asked in your UPSC mains, right? Also, there is this article where the culprits of the, let's say, Rajiv Gandhi murder has been released. So you can see it. There's a timeline also. If you want, you can read it. If you don't know about the case, what has happened, right? So you can read it here. Okay. Next, there was again a mention of the consumption of groundwater. Again, groundwater is a very hot topic. It can be asked in geography as well as GS paper 3 environment. Okay, so here there is a mention of the present status of groundwater. So basically, there is a recent report from Central Groundwater Authority that the groundwater level has increased, which is a good news. However, we have to conserve it properly, because 90% of the groundwater is used for irrigation purpose, for agriculture purpose. Okay, so there is this mention of data here on the second paragraph. The areas which have the poor groundwater table here mentioned is in this paragraph, right? There is this mention that there is no central law governing the use of groundwater. So if there is no law, there can be an indiscriminate use which would further deplete the groundwater. So what we should do, there is this draft national water policy, which recommend a shift in usage from water guzzling crop to agroclimatic planning. Right? So you should read this article, make a quick note, whatever it is mentioned in this thing, and where you will use it, you will use it whenever there is a question on water conservation or groundwater depletion. You can write the data, or let's say the things collected from this article. Also, in order to conserve groundwater, there are basically two schemes which has been running. One is Atal Bhujal Yojana. Atal Bhujal Yojana, you can write it down. Okay. And one other scheme, I am not recalling the name right now. That is a scheme of this Central Groundwater Authority. You can search it from the net. Clear? So, but Atal Bhujal Yojana is a very important scheme for conserving the groundwater. So you should write all these things whenever there is a question on groundwater. Okay. Next, yes, again there's this government and governor tussle between which you have seen in Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So you can read it, whatever there is, whatever the issue there has been, you can read it from there. If you have time, don't. It is not required right now from your exam point of view. Just to gain the insight, whatever is going on here in the news, you can go and read it. Clear? Next we have, see, one more thing is here that there's a news that leading in economic measures, lagging on social measure. So this what this signifies. See, whenever there is a election, the all the political party, they focus mostly on economic measures, like we will give you 1000 rupees per month, we will give you this much of employment, we will give you, let's say, free cylinders, we will remove all the loans which you have taken for agriculture purpose. So their focus are more on economic measures, but on the social measures it lacks. No one talks about nutrition, no one talks about the education thing, right? So similarly, it has been seen in Gujarat also. Whatever the status is, right? Whatever, like plastic waste, okay. Then there's this education thing, right? Human Development Index. So these all things are not share of wasted children's, right? Underweight, how many children are underweight. So these kind of let's say targets are not there on their political agenda. They're mostly focusing on the economic thing. So whenever there is a question on, let's say, the political, yeah, election manifestos of the different political parties, you can write that they're mostly biased toward the economic thing. The social indicators, social well-being indicators are usually neglected, or there are not separate things which focus directly on these social indicators. Okay, so you can quote some example of Gujarat. So if you have time, you can go through it, else leave it, no need to read this article. Again, there's this article, that new regulation for awarding PhD. So whatever previously was happening, that due to the pressure of let's say releasing number of research papers, the focus on quality was not appropriate. Okay, but recently UGC has made a new regulation that now the quality focus will be there. So you can read what are the key changes here. Okay, how research scholars will be evaluated under the new process. Are there any concerns? So you can either go through the entire article, or you can read this gist if you don't have time. So this might be asked in your GS paper to higher education. Higher education. So PhD and all these are related with higher education. So you can read this thing, make a short notes, and move on. Clear? Now there was this mention that why has France ended its military operations in Sahel? So here you have to two things. Basically, there is this entire story. No need to go through it. Just know about Sahel. Where is Sahel? What is Sahel? Okay. So Sahel is basically a region in Africa which usually consists of countries like Mauritania, Mali, Nigeria, Chad, South Sudan, and Sudan. Okay. So these are this entire stretch is known as the Sahel region. one of the most backward regions of Africa, one of the most terror inflicted. Terrorism is quite high in this area, so many countries are trying to curb this terrorist activity. Okay, so you should know about Sahel. Clear? Moving on, data localization, very important article. There was a direct question on data localization in UPSC Prelims 2017. There's this mention of, there was a direct question on this thing, general data protection regulation between India and initiative of European Union. There was a direct question on this also in UPSC prelims. So you have to read this entire article. You should know, you should have to read this thing. What is data localization? What is the need for data localization? What are the drawbacks of data localization? And what should be the conclusion? So you should prepare it in a form of mains answer. Okay, a very important topic from GS3 point of view as well as UPSC prelims. Clear? So read this article, and I've told you in what sequence you have to study or you have to make a note. Next, there was this mention of collegium system. So go make a Google search. What is collegium system UPSC? Right? Whatever you're searching on Google, just mention UPSC in front of that. So collegium system UPSC, you'll get a huge number of articles. Pick any one article and read it, and you will understand the entire topic. Because the description of collegium system is not mentioned in Lakshmikant especially. Okay, so go make a Google search. You will read about collegium system. What are the pros of collegium system? What are the cons? And how there's a need of all India judicial services and National Judicial Appointment Commission. So there was a bill previously about NJAC which was rejected. Okay. And what are the drawbacks, especially the lack of transparency in judicial appointment? So this is the main issue here. So go and Google search it. You will get a good insight of collegium system, its pros and cons, and what should be the way forward. So this was it from today's newspaper. I think आपको help मिली होगी. Also there was this article of extra regional fishing fleet present in Indian Ocean. So from this article you have to pick two things. Exclusive economic zone, you have to read about exclusive economic zone, what it is, right? You can Google search it. Second is there is a mention of UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on the Laws of Sea. What is UNCLOS? What are its provisions, or let's say objectives, and about exclusive economic zone. Just go and Google search it. It will be helpful for your prelims point of view. Okay. Moving on. So this was all the important things from today's newspaper, both from prelims point of view and mains point of view. I hope you are getting how we are approaching the newspaper. We are not reading any random stuff. We are picking only the most important facts from prelims point of view, and only those important example and case studies which you will be using in your mains thing. I also mentioned about any good article which you have to read and make short notes. So this is our approach. Prelims facts, mains example and case studies, and any good article which you have to read entirely. I also mentioned this. So this will definitely say, I think those who are following, they would have felt that it is saving their time. It is helping them prepare in a proper manner and not go haywire and waste their time. Clear? So if you have any doubt, you can mention those things in the comment section and we'll get back to you. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.